This is Transits Fridays again. Let's talk about the full moon. So there is a full moon, Leo, coming towards us, or we're heading towards that full moon. It will be happening on the 12th of February, and that's this week, is in what, 5 days. So can you feel the buildup of energy already? How is that going for you? So we're going to talk more or less some of the astrological transits of the week, but mostly I really just want to talk about the full moon. So there are a few interesting things that I want to share with you. The major aspects of this full moon, one in particular, I want to talk about the lunar family as well. This full moon is a culmination connected with a new moon a while back. So how can we connect these dots and what was happening to us and how to think about this? So that's one of the things we're going to talk about. And I also want to discuss a little bit the Sabian symbol for this full moon as well, just because I find that very thought-provoking, really amazing, really symbolic. And also, obviously, if you follow me already, you know I love to talk about imagery. That's why I love working with astrological tarot, teaching astrological tarot, because the cards can work as an amazing, powerful imagery for astrology as well. So Sabian symbol is another way of working with imagery, and I just think it can give us some very powerful insights. So let's have a look at the Sabian symbol as well. So let me share my screen as usual, and also let me know in the comments how you're doing. Did you have time to check my long, very long video about the North Node in Pisces? How do you feel about that? Do you have that nodal combination of Pisces and Virgo in your birth chart, or a 6 and 12 house as well? Let me know in the comments, and let me know in the comments of that video as well, because I think it's so rich with information that is worth, sharing with other people as well, so other people can also prepare for this longer lasting transit that the lunar nodes in Pisces and Virgo represent. So also, just let me know whatever you want to let me know. Write down in the comments how you've been. How's this week? Did you feel this setting sail kind of sense with Jupiter turning direct, with Venus entering Aries as well, with the moon coming to trine the sun as well? Did you feel that things have started to move ahead a little bit? I certainly have felt. I've recorded some new ads for the astrological tarot webinar that I'm planning, that I'm getting, putting together. And that's very exciting. So I've done some more ads. I've done a professional photo shoot as well, which is also really exciting to be doing. Is my second professional photo shoot. But the first one I did, which has all of the photos on my website, it was a lot more playful. It was a gift. I didn't go with intent to make into my professional photos, as a professional astrologer, tarot reader, etc. So this second one I did more recently had a little bit more of that. But I suspect that I will be doing professional photo shoots more often. And in fact, that's a very Leo thing to do, in a way, like to get yourself under the spotlight, get photos taken, feel special, you're under the spotlight there. It's all about you in that moment, and really have a professional photographer help you capture that essence, because I can't quite explain. Some pictures is going to look like you're really, really stifled, and some pictures are so like natural, like that split of a second that the photographer managed to capture that essence. So that essence is very leonine as well. That essence, that true moment of authenticity there, even if it's in a split second, is very leonine as well. So it kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about today with the full moon in Leo. So this is the chart for today, 7th of February, Friday. Moon in Gemini, obviously coming to trine Mercury and the Sun. So we're continuing on that trajectory of moving things ahead, taking steps towards what we actually want to happen, what we actually want to manifest in the world as well. I think there's a lot of that flavor that's been happening this week, and it's kind of continuing into the weekend. And obviously into that sense of culmination with the full moon, because full moons are culmination. They're connected to harvest, to big insights, to revelations that we can have, right? So that's Saturday. Moon moves to Cancer, so potentially a weekend that's gonna get us feeling a little bit more introverted, wanting to spend time with family, wanting to spend more time at home, investing our energy in the home environment a little bit more, etc. Mars and Saturn are forming an exact trine as well this weekend. So I think there's a lot of potential for healing here with the watery signs and that trine. But we also have that Mercury Sun conjunction on Sunday. So Mercury going to the heart of the sun. That's another symbol for having insights, for tapping into information, for becoming aware of something important, tapping into some message, something about our individual, our hearts, what makes us our hearts sing, etc. And that could be of an Aquarian nature, right? Something connected with friends, communities, ideals, hopes for the future. Remember, Aquarius has a resonance with the card of the star, which I have right behind me there, in tarot, astrological tarot. So hopes for the future is kind of there as well. And the Monday the 10th, we also have that Mercury Sun conjoined still. But what I really want to talk about here is Tuesday. Moon has already moved to Leo. What I really want to talk about is the 12th. So here we are, 12th of February. That would have been my grandmother's birthday, the grandmother that I have a tattoo of in my arm. You can't quite see. 12th of February was her birthday. Anyhow, that's the full moon. That's the day of this coming full moon. So it will be happening at 24 degrees Leo. So 24 degrees Aquarius and 24 Leo. And what is the biggest thing that's happening in terms of aspects here is the square to Uranus. So Uranus is 23 Taurus, and the moon and the sun at 24 Leo and Aquarius. So it's a T-square with Uranus. That Uranus in Taurus, which is still lingering in Taurus, will be moved to Gemini this year and then come back, etc. But this one was still happening in square to Uranus in Taurus, and it's telling us that we need to be aligned with our values very, very strongly. But another thing that is really important here is to realize that whenever we're stuck in a rut, whenever things are not quite, we're bored, we're sick of it, it's not, we're really sleepwalking in life. Well, Uranus is going to have a little touch there and wake us up to that area, to that place, to that subject or that flavor in our lives, right? That is particularly important for people that have anything in their birth charts around those degrees of the fixed signs. So I would say between 22 and 26 degrees of Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio as well. So this is a big wake-up call in a very powerful way, because this full moon is activating your Uranus transit. You're already having a Uranus transit. It's already touching that placement, that part of your chart. So this full moon is going to emphasize that. It's going to bring more information about these transformations that you've been doing already. Uranus will be saying we need to reclaim our individuality, our potency, I think. I know potency is a Mars word, and funny enough, I have Mars Uranus conjoined, so they're working as Siamese twins. But I really feel that Uranus brings that courage to go our way regardless, and including the courage to be disliked as well, if that's what it takes. But Uranus will be talking about change and implementing change that will give us more space to express ourselves in a more authentic way. And a lot of the times, Uranus is a very disruptive energy. It doesn't have to always be disruptive, but it can be. And I think we can experience the worst of Uranus, someone packing their bags and leaving us out of the blue when we're really not implementing these changes ourselves, when we're really not embracing, when we're digging our heels and saying, no, I will not move, I will not change, then Uranus will bring the more drastic, or we're going to tend to experience, because say Uranus will bring, it sounds like it's the planet's fault, and it obviously isn't. But Uranus will reflect a more drastic change, because the more we hold on, the stronger the power needs to be to move us, to take us away from what's not serving us anymore. So I think there's a lot of that flavor there. And with Taurus, it's really a lot about our values and self-worth, and really standing by that, and really standing by those values. With Leo here as well, which is one of the ends of this T-square, and obviously the full moon is in Leo, and we're talking about authenticity. And in the axis of Leo and Aquarius, we're talking about what is my most authentic gifts that I can offer the community. What is the role that I can play in the community? Being myself, right? So we're not talking about self-indulgence. We're not talking about being selfish. That's the worst of Leo. But we are talking about being your most authentic self and bringing your most authentic gifts to share with the community, to share with a group of people with Aquarius. And the compass will be that Taurian flavor, will be the values, right? What we truly, truly value. So the full moon Leo can be a real gift here to show us, to reveal to us what makes us our hearts sing as well. That's a very Leonine flavor. So what makes your heart sing, right? That's definitely there. Now, talking about the Sabian symbol for this full moon, because that's something I always share with the Witches Circle. Every month I give them lunations and they publish on their YouTube page as well. And I always talk about the Sabian symbols there. And here I don't talk so much. And I have had some of you messaging me and asking for more Sabian symbols. So here we are. The Sabian symbol for 24 degrees Leo is a large camel crossing the desert, or crossing a desert. Now, that imagery of a large camel crossing a desert really brings the feeling of struggle. Crossing a desert, for me, the first thing I think is a struggle, because it's dry and it's hot and it's not a very easy condition. But the camel was ready for that, right? So the camel is proper, it's got the right build up to cross the desert, right? To carry its own water, etc. But in symbolism, because I looked into the symbolism of camels as well to have a better idea of this Sabian symbol. And the symbolism for a camel is endurance, resilience, not giving up the long journey. So we're kind of carrying that with us in this full moon as well. We can tap into those flavors during this full moon. And one of the words that caught my attention connected to the symbolism of the camel is strength. Now, strength is also the card related to Leo in astrological tarot, basically. So we're really talking about strength and resilience and endurance when it comes to authenticity and the individuation process. It really takes courage to be who we are. It really takes a lot of endurance to stand by what we are and who we are, and to show ourselves to the world in that vulnerable way, right? That authentic, vulnerable way, because people can criticize, and people will criticize, especially with all these trolls in the internet. They don't have to have any sort of accountability. So it takes courage, it takes strength. And I think the strength card in the tarot also speaks about that, finding that sense of authenticity through our shadows, So there's also shadow work being connected to. So with this full moon, expect themes about obviously authenticity, as we're talking about, authentic values, awakening, but also independence and self-reliance. That's another flavor here when we think about the camel. And I think that's a very important topic when we see the axes and the oppositions between Aquarius and Leo. So, themes of independence and self reliance, the way to be authentic with no dependence issues. So, the difference between interdependence and codependence, they're very, very important as well right now. And with this full moon, that's going to be emphasized as well here. You don't need to chop off bits of who you are authentically because someone else won't take it, won't accept it, etc. We're talking about essence here. We're not talking about patterns of behavior and, selfishness and etc. Right? We're talking about the best versions of ourselves. We're talking about what we're meant to be in the world. So that needs to be clear here as well. So those issues are going to be very much under the spotlight. And another thing that's important for you to think about here, in particular, if you have those later degrees of the fixed signs, is that this full moon is a culmination of a new moon that's happened on the 16th of August, 2023. So 2023. So what was going on there for you? What sort of seeds were you planting around that time? Now, that's very interesting. And I'm bringing up this lunar family because of personal reasons, really. I've talked about lunar families before. I've wrote, forecasts for clients bringing the lunar families before, but every now and then, there's so much to talk about in astrology. We forget certain things. And personally, this full moon is activating my ascendant. So I have the ascendant at 24 Scorpio. And obviously, Uranus is transiting my descendant and my ascendant axis. So August 23 was when we were making a decision to come to Brazil, me and my partner. So there's something about the partnership here as well, and how that made a lot more space for us to work on our passions, work in what we actually want to do, want to create in the world. And interestingly, my partner's midheaven is 23 Leo. So that's when he also decided to work with music more seriously and more consistently. So this full moon has a combination flavor connected to music and his career and with my relationships as well, my partnerships and how we've been working together. Obviously, there are more layers there. And how am I allowing more independence to exist between us? How am I allowing more space between us, having Uranus crossing the seventh house? And that's also that, and more, potentially changes in my work with my clients, etc. Because astrology is multi-layered. It's never just one thing or the other. It's never either or. Symbols are wonderful to teach us the sort of moving away from either or thinking. Binary thinking is either or, is black and white. There are many shades, there are many potentials. And it's working with those different potentials there that really enriches our lives, amongst other things, really, that I find that tremendously enriching, working with symbols. But definitely moving away from either or, because there's so many shades of gray here of what these transits can be doing or can be reflective of in terms of growth and change as well. All right. So think about August 2023. What were you doing? In particular, if you have those degrees in your birth chart, if you have, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. Think about August 23 because this is a combination here. And it has to do with that Uranus transit as well that we've been going through. Okay, now the other important transit here from this full moon is a Mars-Saturn trine, which has been going on this weekend. We already talked about, but is a longer lasting flavor because Mars has been retrograde for a while. We've been reviewing, revisiting, rethinking, reassessing Our connection with Mars, our connection with our inner warrior. How do we say no? How do we set boundaries? How do we separate? Right? Mars will be our ability to separate, to go away. The courage to be disliked, I think, is very much within Mars. And Mars trine to Saturn and Mars in square to Chiron is just another step of that process that's imprinted in the energy of this full moon as well. So we're still dealing with that. We're still understanding our relationship to anger and reassessing that and finding better ways of doing that, and including how we get the things we want, how we manifest things, how we fight for what we want, etc. So that's definitely still there. And those are the very, very important aspects that are happening at the same time of the full moon or are part of the full moon. Remember, the full moon obviously is the first note, is the strongest note. As you think about flavor notes in a wine tasting, the flavor main note will be the full moon square to Uranus, and then another flavor note or profile there is Mars, which has been going on for a while. So we can still get some revelations about that. So here's Thursday, dealing and integrating that energy of the full moon. And on Friday, obviously, I'm going to be back with another Transits Fridays is Valentine's Day. So maybe I can talk about relationships. Ask me anything you would like me to talk about and do videos about as well. And I'll definitely take into consideration. Mercury will enter Pisces next Friday. So another flavor shift here that will be happening this week, but we'll talk about that next week. So that's it for this week. I hope you can make the most of this full moon, Leo, that you can realize what makes your heart sing, what is truly authentic to you, who you are as an individual, and that you are special and unique, and you came here to be yourself. So I hope this full moon helps you in that process. And having fun is another one. Getting in touch with the inner child is another one. So I hope you can make the best. And I'll be seeing you next week. So take care. Mwah. Lots of love. And I'll see you soon.